What's up, guys? My name is Gabe. Welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the Oregon game preview. I know you guys can't see me right now, but I'm like coked up Dan Lanning after beating Penn State right now. That's how fired up I am. You guys know Dan Lanning. Whether he's coked up on the Oregon sideline, whether he's shirtless jumping into pools with underage recruits, or whether he's smoking a victory cigar after winning one recruiting battle due to money. He never fails to entertain, and for that, Dan, I salute you. And Oregon fans, I can already hear your dainty little fingers pressing on your keyboard, typing whatever cringe response you're going to put in my comment section, which, by the way, thank you for the engagement. But just so all of you know, I do not take you seriously. I do not listen to a word you have to say. Your program is plastic. Your program is irrelevant. You're not a blue blood, and you never will be. But having said all of that, guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the game preview. If you guys could, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, let's hop in here and meet Oregon. So, meeting these Oregon Ducks. Let's start with the head coach, Dan Lanning, who I am obviously a massive fan of. But all jokes aside, Dan Lanning is a guy that provides a ton of juice for this program, a ton of culture. If you watch the Ducks versus Them series they do after every single win, they show his team talks during the week. And he'll pick a theme or something very specific and he'll hone in on that. And that isn't the key part of it. Like any coach can just pick something and stick to it, like whatever you want to focus on during the week mentality-wise. But it's the way you hear the assistant coaches and the players repeating it like it's gospel. This is a team that is fully bought into their head coach. This is a coaching staff that's fully bought into their head coach. This program goes as Dan Lanning goes. And all the things that people say where they're only good because of money, that isn't true. Texas A&M had a ton of money a few years ago, and that went up in flames. This is a very good culture program. It's a very physical program and a very professional program. How good is Dan Lanning, the coach, the X's and O's? I don't think we know the answer to that yet. But what we do know is he comes from that Kirby Smart tree, and he's one of the best motivators in the entire country. So Oregon's going to be up for this game. Their crowd's going to be into it. And it's going to be a very difficult one. But let's flip over and meet the Oregon offense. This is a unit led by offensive coordinator Will Stein. I think Will Stein is absolutely brilliant. I think he's going to be a phenomenal head coach whenever he wants to be. He's one of those coordinators, and it's one of my favorite style of coordinator to watch, where when you watch him early in the game, you see him laying the groundwork for things that he's going to build up to later in the game. You'll see common themes. You'll see a certain type of motion, and that'll be a motif throughout the first half. And then they'll do something very dynamic and strange off of that in the second half, and you can see it coming. I just love coordinators that see the game through that lens, where it's not as simple as just calling this play to beat this defense. You're setting traps all throughout the early part of the game, and then it builds up into something spectacular later in the second half, and I love that. The quarterback for the Oregon Ducks is, of course, Dante Moore. This is going to be an NFL quarterback. He is a phenomenal player. He's not perfect, which we'll get to in a minute, but numbers-wise, he's at 72.8% completion percentage, 2,190 yards, 21 touchdowns, 5 picks. So this is a pocket passer. This is a guy that throws one of the most beautiful balls in the entire country. The touch, the arc, the placement. When Dante Moore is on, he's close to unstoppable just because of where he can place the football. He and Jaden Mayavis share a lot of similarities, both in the positive and the negative. Dante Moore is a little smaller than Jaden Mayavis. He's 6'3", 206 pounds. But one thing about Dante Moore, he does not like to be hit. This goes all the way back to his time at UCLA. If he gets hit and gets hit hard, he doesn't fold, but he does start to hesitate just a little bit. And that hesitation, that flinch, can throw him off and cause him to be inaccurate or indecisive. He can hold the ball too long. His mental process is very good. He can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pretty easily. He knows this system inside and out, but that can get him in trouble in times just because he's in the pocket for so long. And he can make a few plays outside of structure, but his best work is going to come from inside that pocket when he's stepping up, when he's reading the defense and going through his progressions. It's kind of a pick your poison thing with this Oregon offense, but I think our best bet as a defense is to make him beat us. This rushing attack, as we'll get into in a minute, is one of the elite rushing attacks in the entire country. So commit everything you have to rattling Dante Moore early, get in his face, hit him all within the confines of the rules, obviously, but just rattle him. Let him know you're there. Let him feel you. Our ends are going to have to balance being very aggressive and disciplined in this game because we want to get after the quarterback and we want to hit him. But if you don't contain the edge against this Oregon offense, you're going to be sorry. You just are. So finding that balance is going to be a fascinating thing to watch. But the real story of this offense are the running backs, Noah Whittington, Jordan Davison, De'Aaron Hill, Jade Lamar. This is probably the best and deepest running back room in the country. Noah Whittington has 623 yards and 5 touchdowns. Jordan Davidson has 461 and 12 touchdowns. De'Aaron Hill has 424 and 4 touchdowns. Lamar has 3 touchdowns. This rushing attack is pretty crazy. And it's very, very explosive. This is one of the most explosive offenses in the nation as well. Noah Whittington's longest run is 68 yards. Davison's is 67. Hill's is 66. Lamar's 53. Dante Moore has a 49-yarder. These guys can really bounce it outside. They can find that hole inside, and they can make you pay. Getting to the wide receivers, now this is the biggest question mark due to injury. So, DeCorian Moore, superstar true freshman, Gary Bryant Jr., and former Texas A&M superstar Evan Stewart all have injuries. Evan Stewart is yet to play this season. Gary Bryant and DeCorian Moore have been out for a few weeks now. It is currently Thursday morning, November 20th, as I'm recording this video, and going through every Oregon site I can find. There is a chance that DeCorian Moore plays, but he is considered to be doubtful. Gary Bryant Jr. is just a question mark. There's no word coming out of him if he's going to play or not. He picked up an ankle injury. And Evan Stewart is either going to return in this game or the game next week against Washington. Knowing our luck, it'll probably be this game, but he's someone to watch out for as well. He's immensely talented, but he hasn't played this year. So will rust be a factor if he does play? But the number one name to know, though there's actually 2 names, but the most dangerous receiver is Kenyon Sadiq, superstar tight end, 407 yards, 6 scores. This guy is a monster against zone coverage. He's one of those guys, man. He and Dante Moore are on the same page. Sadiq can find those soft spots in zone coverage. He can cut his route off short, or he can extend it. He's going to find those soft spots, and he's going to get a ton of catches. This is the matchup that scares me most. You know how USC is against tight ends historically, and this is by far the best one we've faced this year when it comes to being a receiver. So watch out for him, and also watch out for Malik Benson. He's really picked up the slack since these wideout injuries have happened, and he is going to be the number 1 target on the outside. Offensive line, we're facing a familiar face in former Trojan Emmanuel Pregnon. And as you all know, this is one of the premier guards in the country. Losing him was a brutal, brutal loss. He's having a fantastic year for the Ducks, unfortunately. And he did play right guard last game, but he normally is the left guard. But yeah, on the year for Pregnon, 84.5 overall offensive grade, 82.6 run blocking grade, and a 90.4 pass blocking grade. And all across the board with this offensive line, they have A+ marks in pass blocking. So are we going to be able to get pressure with 4? I highly doubt it. When we blitz, asking our guys to be in man coverage against these Oregon athletes is pretty terrifying. I know a lot of people were happy with the safety play against Iowa, but guys, it was Iowa. Iowa's athletes on offense and Oregon's athletes on offense, they're not even in the same stratosphere. They're just not. So for D'Anton Lynn, I don't know what the game plan is going to be defensively. This is a terrible, horrible matchup for our defense. What Oregon does well, we struggle with. And I know a lot of USC fans are downplaying this Oregon offense. I don't understand why. When they're not playing in a monsoon or Indiana, who's one of the best teams in the country, they're really freaking amazing. But now let's flip over and meet the Oregon defense. This is statistically a top 3 passing defense in the country. They can play man coverage. They can play zone. They're going to show you looks pre-snap and bail into something else. They're very aggressive, very fast, and extremely physical. We saw Makai Lemon get locked up on the road against Notre Dame and Nebraska. So if that happens in this game, the key to us having a chance is Jacoby Lane. Jade Mayava is going to have to take some risk. If he has a few picks in this game, and it's not just because he didn't see someone, but because he's trying to take a shot downfield to Jacoby, I'm not going to be upset about it. We have to get the ball to number 8. We have to let him do his thing, go up and make these crazy catches. Unless Makai Lemon can unpick this defense, sneak in there, find a way to get open, because they're going to be allocating multiple guys to him probably every single snap you would think. But the biggest question for us overall is Elijah Page back? Because when Tobias Raymond had to move over to left tackle last week, I said it before and I'll say it again, that's one of the worst offensive line performances I've ever seen at USC. Now, Tobias is a really good guard, like a really good one. So this is not an indictment on him as a player or anything like that. But at that left tackle spot in particular, he cannot play there, not against Oregon. I mean, you go look at PFF and Tobias had a 7 pass blocking grade. 7. That might be the lowest I've ever seen. I think Elijah had a 0 against Michigan last year before our line learned that you're allowed to hold in the Big Ten. But yeah, Tobias had a 7 against Iowa. He also had a 25 against Notre Dame. That was at left tackle as well. So when he is at tackle and not a guard, he can't pass block, not at this level. So if we don't have Elijah back, we're going to be in some trouble there. Also, personnel-wise for the Ducks, there's obviously another familiar face in Bear Alexander, and he's actually having a pretty good year for them. He's been very solid overall. This is for sure his best year in college, playing a lot of ball too, 354 snaps on the year. I love how certain USC YouTubers backed his handler, Tony Jones, when Tony was going at people on our defensive line, and now they've completely tried to go back on it, acting like they knew Bear was bad news the whole time. Very funny to see and not at all surprising. But yeah, last time we saw Bear, he was giving zero effort against Michigan in the most critical part of the game. So no love lost there. Hopefully we can get after him. And a name to know on the edge, obviously, Mateo Uiagalelei. The kid's an absolute star. Very versatile. He can play off the edge. He can play inside. He can do a lot of different jobs for you. He's a name to know. He's a name to highlight. And yeah, much like the USC defense, where it's going to be about finding a balance between being aggressive and being safe as well, I feel like the USC offense is going to have to find that one as well between the pass and the run. I do think setting up the pass early in this game is a bigger deal than running the ball. Because look, we're going to have to score against Oregon to win this game. This is not going to be an Iowa game where we hold them to 21 points. If we do, bravo, D'Anton Lynn. But I just don't see that happening. We have to take care of the football. Absolutely have to. Jade Maiava has not played one really good game on the road yet this year, or in his career at USC actually, and we need to see it in this game for us to have a chance to win. Because Oregon really hasn't played anybody passing offense-wise. They beat Montana State, Oklahoma State, at Northwestern, Oregon State, at Penn State, lost to Indiana, win at Rutgers. They beat Wisconsin in a monsoon, Iowa in a monsoon, and then they smoked Minnesota. So we will for sure be the best passing attack they've seen this year. I do think that Mendoza is a better quarterback than Jade Maiava, but I think our wideouts are better than Indiana's. And Indiana's wideouts gave them a lot of trouble. So it's going to be very interesting to see who wins that battle. Our backs are going to have to be physical. I don't know if there's always going to be a hole open when we run the ball. We're going to have to make some guys miss. We're going to have to break a few tackles. And just like we got last week against Iowa, we're going to need a few bounces of the ball to go our way. There's a reason we're a 10-point dog in this game, guys. It's going to be an uphill battle. They're a more talented team. But like we always say, this is why the game is not played on paper. It's played out on the grass, and there is a recipe for USC to win this game. If we win the coin toss, I want to see us take the ball. I want to see Lincoln's best play calls he has. I want to see that scripted drive, and I want us to go down and score. Send a message, set the tone right away. And then on defense, I'm not expecting us to stop them. What I'm hopeful for is that we can get a few timely stops and get a few turnovers as well. Hit Dante Moore early, throw him off his game, get in his face. DeCarlos Nicholson can't be the only guy with attitude this week. He and Marcellus Williams. We need guys in people's faces, talking shit, stirring the pot, getting under their skin. Looking at it in totality, there's a lot of matchups on the field I don't like for us in our favor. I think quarterback is leaning slightly them, but a push pretty much overall. They have the better running backs. I think we have the better wideouts. They have the advantage in the tight end room, on the offensive line, on the defensive line, at linebacker. If we don't have Kamari Ramsey and Bishop Fitzgerald, they for sure have it at safety and corner as well. And speaking to the Bishop Fitzgerald Kamari Ramsey thing, our two safeties against Iowa were Christian Pierce and Kennedy Urlacher. Those are two box safeties, more linebacker type of skill sets than anything. The thought of those two guys being in coverage against these Oregon wideouts is very scary. They don't have the skill set of a Bishop Fitzgerald. They don't have the athleticism of a Kamari Ramsey. So Bishop sounds like for sure isn't playing, so our star center fielder is gone. That's a gigantic, enormous, massive blow. Kamari Ramsey sounds like he has a chance to play, but he's not going to be 100%. We're going to have to do something to keep everything in front of us and not get burned deep. Because Dante Moore loves to throw the ball deep. He's very good at it. The touch, the accuracy is all there. So D'Anton Lynn is under a ton of pressure this week. Like, there's not a lot of clear and evident answers as to what he should do. It's really muddy looking. So he's going to have to be creative, and he's going to have to come up with some way that we can get the advantage. But now let's get into these score predictions. So over on ESPN Bet Sportsbook, USC is currently a 10.5-point dog. And yeah, there's two answers here. If you're thinking with your brain, there's not a lot of football reasons USC wins this game. 10.5 points is a lot. And the big question is, what do you actually expect from USC? We all want to win desperately. If we come out and we hold our own and we're physical and we're strong at the point of attack and we get after this Oregon team, but we lose a close one, I'm not going to be upset. That's not fair to this team. This is a massive uphill battle. So if it's competitive and we play with fire and we put a product out in the field that we as fans can all be proud of and see the progression, I'm not going to be upset. I'm actually going to be pretty damn excited about that. Not about the loss, obviously, but the fact that we're taking a step in the right direction. A win here isn't the only way to see progress. But if we go into this game and we're unprepared and we're soft and we get blown out, I think that's going to tell us everything that we need to know. Nothing really has changed. You can't get blown out in this game. So my brain, the logical part of all of this, says that Oregon wins. But with everything on the line, with the parallels to 2011, channeling the all-white Lane Kiffin fit from that game, I'm going to say that USC is going to shock the world. We're going to shock the Big Ten. We're going to shock Oregon, maybe even shock ourselves. We're going to find a way to pull this game out 38-36. A late Ryan Sayeri walk-off field goal to win him the Groza and to send us on a path towards our first college football playoff. So we'll see. Again, the game's played on grass, not on paper. God knows how hopped up Dan Lanning's going to be on the Oregon sideline. But all I know for sure is that I cannot wait to see this game. Can't wait for kickoff. And obviously can't wait to talk with you guys after as we do the instant reaction. But guys, if you did happen to enjoy the game preview, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Really appreciate you guys. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on. Beat the Ducks.